Pop topics.
Lido Pimienta speaks out after racism controversy at the Halifax Pop Explosion Festival. This is written by Karen Bliss. Lido Pimienta, a Colombian-Canadian musician and human rights advocate
whose La Papasa, that sounds delicious, won the 2017 Polaris Music Prize. It was at the center of the controversy this month at the Halifax Pop Music Performance, October 19th at the Marquee Ballroom. I don't know where that is. During her show, she asked people of color to move to the front of the room and white people to move to the back. A request is often part of her sets. When a white volunteer, reportedly there to photograph the show, along with several other white people in the audience, reacted to Pimenta's invitation to relocate, brown girls in front of the room with... dude, this is written terribly. This is not written well. Maybe I just got ahead of myself in the inflection. But the volunteers reacted with overt racism.
Like what?
The details of that overt racism are unclear based on this article. But the response on social media, however, has been mixed. Some understand Pimenta's view and her right as an artist to conduct her performance any way that advances her art and agenda, while others called it, quote, reverse racism, end quote, and countered with, quote, what ifs, end quote. The key issue, however, was not Pimenta's request, but the response to it by some audience members, which to the HPX, which I'm assuming is the festival name, described as aggressive and racist in a lengthy apology to artists. Now, this is the apology from the festival. We will not accept this behavior, and neither should you. The statement reads in part, be responsible for your friends. Talk to them and support them as they move towards unpacking their racism. People of color is capitalized, by the way, deserve safe spaces, and it is your responsibility to help.
That was the name of the opening band.
Oh, the safe spaces?
No, people of color. That's why it's capitalized.
Like Cult of People. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like War on Drugs.
Which is a great name for a band. It really is. But Matt, let's talk for a second about the nature of this request.
This is just, it's just so, it's so aggravating. I mean, this, like, Lido Pimienta, let's go with that. Lido Pimienta starts off the last song that she does at all of her concerts by saying, people of color move towards the front and white people move towards the back.
Okay.
And if you read more into this article, it's they say that the person that refused to move back was a white girl that was hired by HPX, by the festival, to take pictures for the show. So she wasn't moving back out of protest of reverse racism. She wasn't moving back out of defiance or real racism. She wasn't moving back because it was her job to be up front and take pictures.
Yeah, but the problem I'm having is that she reacted with overt racism.
There was no overt racism. What the overt racism was?
Yeah, that's the thing, is we don't know the nature of it, so we can't make it. At this point, it's all speculation, and that's why I'm kind of bummed out that they released this press release with a very specific agenda in mind. Like the festival had a different reaction than the artist. The artist is allowed to do whatever she wants. The festival reacted in a way that said, this is overt racism. Now, we don't know exactly what this photographer volunteer said, but they say that it was overt racism. We can't just start throwing gasoline on a fire until we know exactly what she said. Now, if she said the N-word, if she called them brownies, that'd be a bummer. Mm-hmm. But we don't know if she did. We don't know what she said. So therefore, we can't react. This is the same thing that I have against the and I'm going to call it a witch hunt of men in Hollywood getting gunned down. We need to have a more nuanced approach. You can't approach the same people or you can't approach every situation with the same thing. It's like treating every situation like it's a nail and you're a hammer. There's more tools, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I just feel like we don't know. We don't know if she said something overt, and we don't know if she said something that could be misconstrued as overt. We don't know what she said.
Well, I don't really care what this white girl said. You say whatever the fuck you want when somebody on stage is pointing and yelling that people of a certain race move to the back of the room and people of another race can move forward. That's aggressive racism. That's overt racism. That is wrong. And especially considering the fact that this girl wasn't this girl wasn't a fan of Lido. She wasn't there because she loved Lido's music. She wasn't even protesting because she felt slighted. She was staying up front because it was her job to be there.
Yeah.
She was photographing for the show. She can't just move to the back just because. I mean, she's not there to take in the art. So the last thing she's going to do is do this because the reverse racism is an artistic expression. You know what I mean? The problem is even before this girl refusing to move back is somebody on stage saying white people move to the back. And she said later in the statement, Lido, she said that she never asked white people to leave. Oh, you're so brave. You're so fucking brave. You didn't ask them to leave. You just told them to move to the back. Especially considering the fact that a lot of people, I mean, this isn't a festival. This isn't a show just for Lido, but a lot of these people probably paid really, really good money. And if these people, no matter their race, their gender, or anything, if there's anybody at this show that is up front, they tried really, really hard to get there. Yeah. They wanted to see Lido so bad, which I've never fucking heard of her before. They wanted to see Lido so bad that they probably missed other shows that they could be up front. They waited for a long time at that stage to wait for Lido to show up, and now they're being told to move to the back of the room just because of their race.
All right, so I completely understand that. But for an artist does whatever they want to do. They can shock, they can do whatever they want, and we can make fun of it, right?
Yeah.
Let's agree with that. Let's agree that whatever she did is just part of her show and it's making a bigger statement. But again, it's part of her show. The problem that this is, I think the bigger problem, and maybe it's that we're both thinking that there's a different problem. The bigger problem for me is that if this is how I imagine it working. The show is going on, right? And the artist, Lido Pimienta, by the way, the article, I dropped it in the comments, wherever those are, here, there, everywhere. We're on the internet. The problem is that when asked to move, they say that she responded with overt racism. Now, if I were a volunteer there to photograph an event, I would say, oh, that doesn't apply to me because I'm not part of general population. Mm-hmm. I am the exception because I have a press pass or because I am a certified volunteer through the festival. Now, if I didn't move and they're like, no, you need to move, and then you go, no, N-word, that sucks. That is reacting. Mm-hmm. But to say no and defy it because, hey, y'all, I don't know, no, like I'm not, like this isn't a, oh, no, like, oh, I'm not the guy. This isn't.
But then for them to continue to be like, no, you're white, move to the back, and there wasn't.
And that's what the festival did. The festival's wrong for taking that stance, but they're also wrong for making a statement without qualifying exactly what was said.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
The other thing that like down in this in the statement that HPX put out afterwards, they say, to the people of color in the audience on Thursday night, we are sorry your night was interrupted. How about the fucking white people that paid exactly as much with their night wasn't just interrupted, they were forcefully removed from the front of the stage. Like they were told to move.
It is an over apology. It's an over apology, but at the same time,
but it's also wrong.
It's wrong. It's wrong. And that,
Lido's wrong, but artists are art. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want.
Let's take her out.
Lido's wrong, fine. But then for the festival, which is a group of people, I can only assume they are a large group of people that are made up of different genders, races, ethnicities. They are the ones that are apologizing to not the white people that were forcefully removed from where they were watching the show because of artistic expression. They're not apologizing to them. They're apologizing to Lido, supreme racist of this situation. And then all of the people of color that were in the crowd that were telling these white people, probably saying, hey, white people, get to the back. Yeah, now white people have to be in the back. They're apologizing to them. They're apologizing to that group of people.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are wrong in this situation.
I think that the festival's wrong because they're like, hey, we're sorry, people of color. Like, and I'm gonna say, if I was a minority, I'm not gonna do that. But I'm gonna take a stance, a linear move to that. To say that I'm like they're apologizing to me, like, no, it's it's stop babying me. Like I feel like it's very pandering. It's almost like that's the that's the society we live in. But that's really what it is. It's just kids are afraid to say what they want to say because they're gonna be held accountable. They're afraid to say everything they want because their peers are taking everyone else's side. Nobody is defending themselves. Nobody is talking for their own agenda. They're talking for everyone else's agenda. And in the meantime, people that are talking for their agenda are getting things done. And that's like that, and don't want to make it political, but that is the right.
Yeah.
The right is making headway because they are protecting their own agenda. They're not just looking out for people so that it looks good on their resume.
Yeah. And something also tells me, I don't know, I just saw Johnny Stevens is the name of the director of Halifax Pop Explosion. Doesn't really sound like anything but a white guy. Something tells me that whoever wrote that statement and the vast majority of people that are at the top of Halifax Pop Explosion are white people. Yep. And like they're the ones that are succumbing, because all they're doing, all HPX is doing is succumbing to the situation,
right?
And feeding whatever side makes them look like they're on the right side of history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all they're doing, and it's just so
I need
gross.
a record for you to know that in 2017 I was ahead of the game. Yeah, I accidentally hit the corner. By the way, I want to give a shout out. Brandon Riddell is watching the show right now, so I just wanted to say hey to Brandon Riddell, former guest of the show, former Jimmy John's Delivery of Our Heart.